to the Zoom account. I have the new password now, but the account is locked for 30 minutes. So after
Are
that,
we going to switch mid-meeting?
yes, so that's what I'm asking. Should we switch or what should we do? We have only
We'll have to
43
switch
minutes for
because-
this meeting, right?
We'll have the
Can
prepared
you quickly tell from the agenda?
Waited with bated breath.
We'll start after the evaluations are done. We'll switch over to that meeting because panel discussion and everything, we need to have it properly.
Okay.
And a
So
personal
in
account, we don't know how many participants we can allow.
right. So in 40 minutes we'll be over with the evaluations.
just the speeches. So we'll be done with the speeches and then we'll shift for the
Okay,
evaluations
cool.
and the panel.
So we can start, I guess.
Yeah.
Start.
In Indrajit as the TMOD, I think during your theme you can tell everyone to switch. Like after the speakers, and you will speak about your theme, and then you can tell everyone to switch.
Okay.
Yeah, just Mansi, just message him once you are being able to log in so that we'll know for sure that okay, we have another place to go. I mean, the meeting room is opening.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, cool.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can.
So we can extend the meeting timings by 10 minutes or 15 minutes since we are 10 minutes late, so we can extend timings, right?
Right. But the account is locked till 30 minutes and we have a panel schedule, so we cannot tell judges, right, to extend. So we have given them a fixed time, the panelists. So
Okay.
we'll try to be on time. So I guess we should not have much delay. So
Yes, we'll start.
yeah. Saurabh, you can start.
I'm audible. Okay. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 482nd meeting of Toastmasters Club of Pune-West. I'm Toastmaster Saurabh, and I'm your Sergeant of Arms at Arms for today. The theme of today's meeting is curbing the what ifs. Before we start the meeting, I would like to state the club mission, which is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Now, in order to ensure the peaceful conduct of this online meeting, there are a few rules we shall follow. Firstly, turn off your mic if you're not the one who's speaking. Secondly, keep your videos on so that the speaker feels that he's speaking in front of a live audience, unless you're moving or there are distractions around you. In that case, you can switch it off and then switch it on again later. And lastly, whenever the speaker is coming on the stage, please encourage the speaker by with a round of applause or by using the clap emoji, which is in the bottom right corner in the Zoom app. Now I would like the guests to introduce themselves. Guest Rupesh, can you introduce yourself? Hello, guest Rupesh.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I am Rupesh Pathak. I am a government servant, and my hobbies are cooking, listening music, reading, and writing. Thank you.
Thank you, Rupesh. It's great to have you here. Guest Christo, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Christo, and I have been to Toastmaster as a guest before also. So I'm a mechanical engineer, and I am working in Pune right now, and I am living in a PG. So that is why I have not started my camera on, because I'm living with my friends here, and so it might be a disturbance. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Christo. It's great to have you here. Now it's time to invite the host of today's meeting. He is a pharmacist by profession, a sports lover, and also an early riser who inspires me to wake up early. Let us welcome Toastmaster of the Day, Indrajeet Karnik, onto the stage with a huge round of applause. Over to you, Indrajeet. Over to you, Toastmaster Indrajeet.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saurabh, and I'm glad to know that I inspire you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 482nd meeting of Toastmasters Club of Pune-West. I'm Indrajeet Karnik, your host for today. In the current day, it is absolutely impossible to escape worry, right? You miss a lecture, a deadline in your college, professors are ready to pounce on your weaknesses and give you less grades at the drop of the hat. What if you get poor grades? You probably might not find a job. You probably would remain unemployed. What if you find a job? Co-workers fighting tooth and nail to impress the boss by emulating the boss. Worry and stress and anxiety are everywhere, and today we will look at that and some ways to overcome overthinking. Now, first I'll explain the program for today. We have two sessions. The first half is prepared speeches. Speakers will attempt to deliver speeches based on certain objectives, and then these speeches would be evaluated by evaluators, and they would give their feedback within a specific time limit. After that, in the second session, we have a panel discussion where three veteran Toastmasters who excel at table topics would share their ideas and tips and tricks for the upcoming table topics contest in the next, which is going to be conducted in the next week. So before I explain the program for today, I use three words: worry, stress, and anxiety. So can anyone quickly differentiate between those three terms?
What three terms? Could you repeat?
Worry, stress, and anxiety. It's not an exam, so it's fine if you go wrong or blabber anything, just like exams.
Seems like all those three words are synonyms, sound synonymous, but worry is something, worrying or anxiety is something that you are getting stressed because there is something in the future and you are not really prepared for it, or you are just worrying about your performance toward on that particular time or moment. Something
So
like that.
you defined anxiety with stress and using the word stress and worry.
I
That
don't
was a
know the
good attempt.
difference, but I think we use these words interchangeably in our life. So don't know.
Yes, we do use the words interchangeably, and there is a slight difference. So worry is a negative thought you have when you have some uncertainty in your life. So it tends to focus on the assumption that something negative will come from the future events or from the outcomes of the occurrences of the past, while stress involves reactions to the pressures placed on you. You may feel spread thin or even overwhelmed when life demands too much from your limited resources, like limited time, energy. So, worries are thoughts and stress is a feeling. Anxiety, on the other hand, is a mental and physiological response, which is for to a perceived threat. So, worry takes place in the mind, while anxiety can have physical effects like fastened heart rate. So this is the basic difference. But today I'm not worried much because I do have a competent team to help me out, a fantastic team. Toastmaster Saurabh, who is inspired by me, who kickstarted this meeting as a sergeant at arms, is a computer engineering student. He's an ambivert. He loves traveling, reading books, and adventure sports. Thank you, Toastmaster Saurabh, for that wonderful start to the meeting. Next, do we have the R counter here? Okay.
She will be joining in a few minutes, but I'll start by introducing the role of the R counter.
Okay.
The R counter notes the filler words for the whole meeting, throughout the meeting, whichever the speakers or the evaluators use. When we are speaking, the filler words or the crutch words that we use sometimes really distract the audience from the message that we want to convey. And that is quite distracting. So, to make sure that we pay attention to it and we curb those ahs and ums, we will be keeping a count so that we become more aware of them and we improve day by day. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmasters Swarangi, for stepping in. To keep a track of the good and not so good usage of the English language, we have Toastmaster Atharva, who is an artificial intelligence enthusiast and has his own T-shirt venture. I welcome him on stage to introduce his role and the word of the day and the idiom of the day.
Hello everyone, am I audible? So my job as the language evaluator is to listen to all of your speeches, all of your evaluation, all of your roles very closely, and to note down the good usages of English language and the not so good usages that occur in the meeting, and to point out what the right usage could have been in that place. Uh, and I will present my report regarding this at the end of the meeting. My job is also to introduce the role of the word of the day and the idiom of the day. The word of the day for today's meeting is emulate, which means to replicate something or to excel than someone else in a particular thing. For example, many companies in the world nowadays are trying to emulate Tesla to achieve that perfect electric car. Would any one of you like to use the word of the day in a sentence?
Growing up, kids try to emulate their parents while they grow up into adults, to be adults.
Right. Now, the idiom of the day is at the drop of a hat, which means very quickly, instantaneously. So, an example of the idiom of the day would be nowadays people file lawsuits at a drop of an hat. Would anyone else like to use the idiom of the day? Yes, Swapnil.
I decided to take part in humorous speech contest at the drop of hat.
Yes. And hopefully you will continue to do the same for ISC and table topics contest that we have. And as as is the tradition at almost every Toastmasters club, we always support and show our support to the people who have used the word of the day and idiom of the day by showing up a hands up through a video or by using any virtual means, just like an emoji, a clapping, thumbs up emoji, whatever. So that's it for my role. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Atharva. One of the senior Toastmasters, Toastmaster Swapnil Paranspe, who is a BCom graduate, loves traveling and learning new languages, will keep a tab on the overall proceedings of the meeting as the general evaluator. He will give the report when called upon. Before we move on to the cures of what ifs, which are triggered by anxiety, which in itself is triggered by worry, let me tell you something. Worrying can be worth it. Yes, you heard it right. Worrying can be worth it. Worrying can help and promote problem solving. A study from 2006, so it is a study not by me. Some brighter minds have done it, so I'm not telling it. It is a study from 2006. It has found that university students often solve problems which are when they are worried. So when you're worried, it enhances your problem solving capabilities. It also protects you. If you are not at all concerned that there could be any danger, you will not take any precautions, which is why you wear your seatbelt while going out in the car. So worrying protects you. Worrying also motivates you. If you have a speech coming up, thinking of what could go wrong, thinking of what could go wrong, it can motivate you to get to work, to write that speech, to practice that speech 1,000 times. So worrying is not necessarily a bad thing. We will now have the presiding officer's address, and now I call upon Toastmaster Atharva again on the stage for his address.
Thank you, Indrajit. So, welcome to the 482nd meeting. And as always, let's try to learn something from this meeting. Today, we have an exciting event, a table topics panel discussion today, which is being conducted by Toastmaster Aishwarya. And with the contest coming up, it is very crucial. And in general, also for impromptu speaking skills, let us learn from the experts how to tackle these kinds of situations, various table topics. And with this, I guess there are two guests. So for the benefit of the guests, let me explain. Toastmasters Club is basically a platform for public speaking. It is a not-for-profit organization. People like us come together and support each other in their public speaking journey through doing all kinds of roles, such as giving speeches, doing evaluations, and playing all other roles. The main focus is trying to develop your public speaking skills. Apart from that, there are also leadership roles. As you grow in Toastmasters, you take up roles in the XCOM at the area level, division level, and goes on. So it's a place to learn, fail faster, and do good in life outside Toastmasters. With this, like I mentioned, that contests are coming, and today we are going to close the nominations. So till tonight, so till 11:59 p.m. tonight, as Toastmaster Swarang is very keen on mentioning the time, that at that point of time the nominations will close. So today, after the meeting, is the last time you can nominate. A heads up on this is I've read an article recently. I read a book recently which states that people generally wait for motivation to do action, but it is often a cycle. Motivation leads to action, action leads to motivation. So if you are stuck that should I participate in the contest, should I do, like I have no speech prepared, so should I take register myself? So you can follow this advice, start with the action and motivation will follow. Register yourself for the contest, and probably you'll think of a great speech, you'll attempt a great table topics contest speech and learn a lot as always. So please register, as it is a very fun event. It's not a competition, that's why we call it a contest, because everyone learns and you try to emulate the champion in the next contest, and try to get better every time, every contest you attempt. So please do that. And without wasting further time, because we have just 40 minutes for this session, I would like to hand it over to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Atharva. As he said, we just have 40 minutes, so we'll start with the prepared speeches. Each speech has some specific time limit and some fixed objectives. And the speaker will, that is why it is called a project. And each project teaches us some aspect of public speaking, be it body language, be it presentation skills, be it persuasive skills, and many such aspects. So we'll move on to the prepared speeches, and our first speaker will attempt level 1 project 3 from the pathways dynamic leadership, researching and presenting. The evaluator for this speech is Toastmaster Rahul. I request him to read out the objectives of the project.
Yeah. So the purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and to present a well-organized and well-researched speech on any topic. So I wish the speaker all the best in his attempt to give his speech. So yeah, thank you. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul. Timer, please note that the time allowed is 5 to 7 minutes, meaning the lighting sequence is green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, red at 7 minutes, and the screen will start flashing at 7 minutes 30 seconds. This is the timing sequence for both the speeches. The title of Toastmaster Siddhant's speech is Sleep. The speaker is a BBA graduate, a resident of Abu Dhabi, and can't wait to go study abroad. Let's welcome Toastmaster Siddhant Apte. Toastmaster Siddhant Apte, sleep, Toastmaster Siddhant Apte.
When I told you my speech title, I did not know it would sound so funny when you were introducing me. But yeah, okay. Beta, get up quickly. It's time for your school. Your bus is going to come here at 8 o'clock and it's already 7:30. Get up quickly. I am sure everyone has heard this at least once at some point in our lives. We have been screamed at the same way, and we can collectively agree that it is the worst experience that we have ever faced. I was the same way. I hated my mother for doing this to me, and it was the worst time of my day. And today, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about. Sleep. We all love it. We are sad when we get too little of it. We are sad when we get too much of it. And overall, we can just never get enough of it. Have you ever stopped and wondered what sleep actually is? I know I hadn't. Not until I began preparing for the speech. Here's the funny thing, we still don't know what sleep actually is. And before you kick me out, hear me out. There are a couple of theories, and they are super interesting. One such theory suggests that about 1 million years ago, humans used to lay down very still at night when wild beasts used to roam across the country and the land. And the only way to protect themselves was to lay really still until the sunrise. But if you think about it, this doesn't make too much sense, because if you are asleep, how are you going to protect yourself? Which is why this is not that likely a situation. Another theory suggests that sleep was one of the most inevitable things that could ever happen. Think about it. After toiling the whole day searching for food and shelter, a person is just bound to fall asleep and pass out at the end of the day. It is one of the most natural things to happen. Over time, however, studies have shown that sleep is one of the most important aspects of a healthy lifestyle. How many of us have put sleeping early aside to watch another episode of Friends or maybe that new Tom Cruise movie? We are all accustomed to putting sleep aside, and it is extremely harmful. There are multiple harmful effects of sleep, and in the long run, sleep there are multiple harmful effects of sleep deprivation in the long term. Sleep deprivation increases the risk of hypertension, obesity, depression, heart attack, and even strokes. But let me scare you just a little more. In the short term, the symptoms are much scarier. Symptoms of sleep deprivation include drowsiness, inability to concentrate, memory loss, less physical strength, and increased inability to fight diseases. Over time, these effects lead to increased risk of depression, hallucinations, and severe mood swings. The bare minimum that you need is 7 hours of sleep, which, mathematically speaking, is about 1/3 of your life. Lack of sleep affects costs the US over $400 billion. Yes, $400 billion. 33% of adults don't get enough sleep, and 20% of teenagers, the prime age for when you need to have a healthy lifestyle, they are average at around 6.5 hours of sleep. That's a difficult stat to digest, and it is mighty scary. Sleep. I have had my fair share of sleep deprivation, and it is not a fun thing. I remember during my first year of college, we had this very important exam which counted for about 30% of the entire grade. It was going to be held at 8 in the morning, which is why I decided my entire day prior in advance. I decided to wake up on time, to get a quick workout in, to study the whole day, tire myself out just enough so I can sleep at night. But that didn't happen. I slept at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I ended up missing the exam and ultimately failing it. You see, to actually fall asleep, your brain needs to go to something called the theta brain state. Our brain usually goes to 3 to 5 states. The first state, the alpha, is when our brain is active, like this, when we are speaking, conversing, and talking. The second is the beta, when we are usually a little calmer, and this is where the learning happens. And the last but not the least is the theta brain state. That that is when we actually fall asleep. And to fall asleep, you need to achieve that theta brain state. After all of this information, I would just like to give you a few tips in order to maintain a healthy sleep cycle. Number one, stick to a healthy sleep schedule. Very important. If you can't if you can't fall asleep a certain time, set a wake up time. For example, it can be 8 o'clock every day. Over the next week, your entire sleep cycle will come 360 degrees, and it will straighten itself out. Number two, create a restful environment, a peaceful environment. If you play DJ Snake when you are about to sleep, it won't help. And the last two things actually go hand in hand. Exercise and a healthy balanced diet. Yes, it is the most important thing. We know how important sleep actually is in our lives. It helps us function, and it is significant in maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So make sleep a priority, and end every day with a bang. Happy sleeping. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Siddhant. Now we'll have 30 seconds to give the speaker some feedback. You can do so by sending him a private message on Zoom. It does really help a lot. So please send Siddhant a private message. Okay, I guess we can move on. 30 seconds are done. So, Toastmaster Siddhant, that was a lovely speech. And I'll elaborate on it after some time because we are running short of time on this meeting. So the second speaker is will attempt a level 2 project 3 from Pathways Path Leadership Development Introduction to Mentorship. The evaluator of this speech is Toastmaster Mansi. I request her to read out the objectives of this project.
Good evening, everyone. The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. All the best to Toastmaster Swarangi. Over to you, Toastmaster Indrajeet.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mansi. The title of Toastmaster Swarangi's speech is How to Not Be a Mentor. How to Not Be a Mentor. The speaker is a third year student and pursuing chartered accountancy course. She is optimistic, a bookworm, and an extreme dog lover. Let's welcome Toastmaster Swarangi. Toastmaster Swarangi next item. How to not be a mentor. How to not be a mentor. Toastmaster Swarangi next item. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. It says here that you have the highest chances of success if you take up commerce or science. But looking at your whole report and your whole self, you don't seem like a self-motivated person. You should go for arts. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a perfect example how to not be a mentor. Mr. President, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. What you just saw was the response that a well-established career counselor gave me just a day prior to the filling of my junior college forms. What a constructive addition to my already confused 15-year-old brain. Now here comes the question. What does the word mentor mean? Well, according to the Oxford Dictionary, it's an experienced person who advises and helps somebody with less experience over a period of time. When I tried to think of some famous mentor-mentee relationships, a few famous ones popped in my head. It was who Dr. Vikram Sarabhai was to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. It was who Steve Jobs was to Mark Zuckerberg. It was who Lord Krishna was to Arjun in Mahabharata. And as a matter of fact, it was who Professor Dumbledore was to Harry Potter. Until very recently, I perceived a mentor to be simply be someone who is just like a teacher. Then about a year ago, I had started reading Becoming, an autobiography by Michelle Obama. It outlines her journey right from her childhood, being a student, being a wife and a mother, and to becoming the First Lady of the United States, FLOTUS. When I was reading the book, I was really moved to see that a woman who has risen to such heights went through a constant refrain of, am I good enough? But you know what kept her from getting completely discouraged? Her mentors. Her mentors constantly reinforced a positive belief in her. So much was the influence that after a good deal of effort, she could finally alter it to a, yes, I am good enough. That was the moment when my view towards the role of a mentor changed. I realized that a mentor's contribution is way more important. It involves the right balance of encouragement and constructive criticism. When it was time for me to write a speech on mentorship, I closed all doors, went and sat in a corner of my house, isolated myself completely, and did some deep introspection. Seriously, who are my mentors? After a lot of time, and believe me, a lot of self introspection, I kind of got an idea of who they are. Till now, I have really been never been mentored by a specific person or who has helped me make my life decisions. There have been so many very kind and supportive people that I have fortunately come across. I have split them up into three broad areas. The first one being my parents. My mom and dad have truly given me guidance every step of the way. Any line of career that I have to choose, pushing me to take advantage of opportunities, or even getting myself enrolled in Toastmasters. And believe me, it wasn't a simple route of obedience. I've been through the phase of being a rebellious kid. And then I've also had my fair share of, I had told you so. But importantly, they have constantly instilled the sense of confidence in me whenever my self belief starts crumbling down. The second broad area, which mind you is really broad, this one consists of a lot of my teachers and books. Throughout my school life, I have come across so many teachers who really took interest in me personally and assured me to make the optimum choices. Not only did they just advise me, but they completely changed my perspective of looking at a certain things. And books. I am a bookworm through and through and can engulf myself in a book of any genre. And books, rather some established authors, have taught me a lot. And now the third area are my mentors at Toastmasters. In the past 8 months that I have been a part of this beautiful organization, I have had the honor of being mentored by two very dynamic Toastmasters. Within a week of joining, Toastmaster Tushar guided me right from the point where I faced the audience for the first time, helped me identify my speaking style, and helped me improve from one speech to the next. Toastmaster Vivaswan helped me move out of my comfort zone. I was really hesitant to take part in any kind of event, but he made sure I built a mindset which made me go ahead and participate in contests, host events, or even take up the role of the Vice President Education. Having said that, when I look back, I see a common pattern in all of these three categories. They have never directly told me what to do, but they have always asked me some questions or given some suggestions which made me think and take my own decisions. Looking at the trajectory of how my life has panned out till now, I am really grateful to have come across such encouraging people in my life. They have spent their valuable time and effort to guide me in the right direction. With this, I hope I have given you a fair idea of how to and how not to be a mentor. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Indrajeet.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sorangi. Let's have 30 seconds for the feedback. And we don't have much time left, so I'll ask the timer if both the speakers have qualified.